Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another experience of the African Speaks. Woo! This is a lot, y'all. I know I missed a week, but I'm glad to be here. I've been putting some work in. I've been putting some work in. I've been putting some work in. And we're doing some quick. There we go. All right, so we ready. So welcome to the African Speaks. This is the Rise of the African, it's our social media Pan-African movement where we are bringing Black people together under one umbrella for the sake of watching the African within you rise so that we can focus on changing the lives of our people the world over. Yes, that's what we do. Now, again, I've been busy. So I might come in and out, and I apologize for those who have been loyal over the years of tuning in to the African Speaks. I mean, I have some. I remember walking in the uh, Best Buy one day, and the cashier behind Best Buy, not a member of the church, nobody that in our community yells, "The African is in the building." I loved it. I loved it. Why? Because it said that the word of what we doing as a community and what we need to do to move our lives forward is getting out there. Loved it. And so always busy. And so I shared with my community today a small fraction of them of the things that I've been working on. And so we've been working on this this our World of Akiba Land Cyber Lab. My Fundi. This is my Fundi on the bio. World of Akiba Land Cyber Lab. Yes, Fundi on the bio at Vanessa Mandela. I would not be blessed in this calling if she didn't see it the moment I walked into the nursery when I was visiting or joining, and it was a lot. She saw a spirit on me, and she said, "Brother, there's something on you, and this is special." And she wanted the opportunity to build it, and so we build it. We're definitely building. So we, as time comes, you will hear more about this. We're trying to launch a community social. We're making moves, so y'all keep an ear out and listen because Jada African and Worlds of Keebland has something coming for you. Y'all get ready. And so it's been a minute. We've been talking about this thing, and I'm still on it, which is the power of the divine self. There's absolutely no way I could have started this topic and not focused on the details, the details, and the details. And so something hit me and said, "You got to talk about this because everybody's on this journey." You have a lot of conscious malachios, we'll say, a lot of malachios seeking this experience because a lot of non-African people are talking about the divine self. And they're saying it's ancient wisdom, but none of them are giving it credit that it comes from the African community. None of them are giving them credit that this is an Afrocentric experience. None of them are saying that this was what a people was after before uh, uh, colonialism, before the Caucasian or the European genotype decided to say we need to take over Africa. And so when I jumped in here, I said, "Yeah, let's get into this." And I thought it would. I knew it couldn't have been a one conversation type of series. However, I didn't expect the universe to open up the way it has, giving me the downloads. And before this started, as I was going through this, I realized what next week is, and I'm gonna start advertising next week early, so y'all could actually get it. So we're gonna do that, but we're gonna go through it. So if this is the first time y'all tuning in, if this is the first time y'all are tuning in, and I'm saying one love and hello to everybody. Uh, please take your time to go back to the African Speaks the YouTube page. And when you go out there to the YouTube page, if there's, see it. And I believe I posted them all. And if you need to see them again, just let me know and I'll repost them. But make sure you hit subscribe. So every time we go live, you get it. And for those individuals who are watching on Facebook, yes, always like, comment, share. This is how we move. This is how we move. Of course, I'm coming up with another means of social media marketing to move what we're doing as a community forward. But y'all get ready, participate. Now, here, we're going to recap. We're going to recap so that when we get into today's lesson or today's conversation, of course, if you want to go to the YouTube page and comment so I can see it, please do. And it's DaAfrican Speaks. Y'all see it. DaAfri. It's two A's. On the logo, it just says one A, but it's actually two A's. Okay. I had to do that in order to get the rights to it. All right. So now on the power of the divine self, we did the intro, right? So we did the intro, and it was a prerequisite in terms of the understanding. The prerequisite. And then from the prerequisite, we started from step one, understanding the source. Without understanding the source, you can talk about the divine self all you want. You can talk about manifestation all you want, but you're going to be missing everything. You can shoot, but you ain't hitting no shots. And then we went to the chapter 2, the atomic particle, showing how the source interacts with every part of matter, every part of light, every part of sound, everything. That atomic particle, the energy of the source, is in all things, even inanimate objects. Inanimate objects have intelligence. What? It's in everything. And we do this, and if y'all never watch, but if y'all should watch, if y'all happen to watch a Kiba Land Inspirational Sunday, our youth know it, the ones that have tuned in, that every atom has an assignment and it has an intelligence in it that tells it what to do. That's how you have solid, liquid, and gas. And the molecules in that particular atom knows what to do in what temperatures and how it interacts with other elements and other molecules. There's an intelligence in the smallest particle of matter. And then we discussed what is the divine self and the experience of Maya. What does it look like when you have that same unification of the atomic particle in all things, when you have a community that is governed by understanding the source and the atomic particle? And I jumped to that experience simply because they did not have to figure it out. We entered into this physical realm with wisdom and knowledge, our chakras completely open. God was having an experience with us. So it's God having an experience through God. Ain't that something? Look at the experience of Maya and how you'll see how ancient African communities were able to influence the entire world of civilization to this day. And then we dove deeper into, with chapter 4, the melanin, the gift of the gods. And this has been going around and around. And I have individuals in One Love, Texas, because I've been getting love out of Texas. People from Texas are sharing this particular one. I want you to know how special you are to the creator and the universe, the ancestors, how connected you are according to that melanin in your DNA, and how it's all over the universe. It's everywhere. And it's in you, and how it helps harmonize and unify you to the vibrations of the Most High, each other, nature, and your ancestors. What? How it doesn't need to access your brain to respond. That's why you get a quicker when we juke, we run. Yeah, that's a chemical response from melanin. You didn't know that, did you? Y'all take a look at that and see. It was scientific, proven, and it's not me just saying it. Y'all take a look. Then when we went to chapter 5, the motherland connection. Wow. Before we populated the earth, the creator, the Most High, the source, God, however you want to do it, however you want to call them, the divine feminine, whatever you want to say, had to create a place for us to exist. And that was when we got into the atomic particle, where the universe is perfectly created for us to function. We're going to get into that. And the motherland was the perfect place. Why? Because it gave us everything we needed. It put us in a situation where we were living in a space of abundance. And the only thing we needed to do is connect with one another, connect with the land, connect with our ancestors, and connect with the Creator. And you got to see that what the land looked like. And then from that, we went to 6. If you have a land that gives you everything you need, raw resources, everything you need, what type of vibration of a people exists in that space? Chapter 6. The vibrations of a people, chapter 6. Because now you have a land or a place that is in harmony, and you got put a people in that place of harmony and balance and nature. Images of the Creator all over. What do you manifest? Definitely not a slave race, but you manifest the most profound beings that have ever walked this planet to date. Let's say that, because there still is no civilization that has been able to create and connect to the spiritual realm the way African people have been able to do it. It just hasn't been done. And then you go into, well, let's take a deeper look. Let's not only look at how they live and how they vibrate and how they connect. Let's take a look at the secrets of the mystic temple, how we're created, how everything in the cosmos is created as a system to process divine consciousness, manifest divine consciousness, that balance. And then we said, wait a minute, we're created in that same balance. The secrets of the mystic temple, most people thought it was something physical. No, it's something organic. And so we break down those different systems of your body and how they work and process your energy. So beautiful, this power of divine self, we needed to know how, what, how, which, where, when, and why before we actually literally jumped in on it. And then the concept was triggered to talk about the vocal utility. In every spiritual discipline, it states that the Creator says, let there be light. Then you have life. Light and life. And so in that process where we say the Creator spoke, shows you the power of your vocal cords. One reason why Africans did not do a lot of writing in the beginning is because, and still in spiritual systems, they still don't. They don't want to write a textbook of their faith. They don't want to do that. Who wants to do that? It takes away from the art of being vocal, speaking something that triggers memory. Certain words, certain phrases, certain enunciations triggers ancient memory within your DNA. Within your DNA, the vocal utility is one of them, and this is why we say speak life. I had a conversation one time with my brother, and I said, dude, you need to chill. Why? Because you're not speaking life right now. What you're doing right now is hurting your journey and the journey of the people around you and the journey of the individuals that you engage with. How do you know when you do that? I said, every time you open your mouth, you're speaking either blessings or curses. So which one is it? And that's the disconnection. Sometimes we're disconnected to the point where we don't even understand that. And so from the vocal utility, I was like, wow. So when you start speaking using that vocal utility, that and in it, what happened with this? Wow, this was a great. If you haven't seen it, look at this. In the vocal utility, I started studying why people sing prayers, why the Muslims do it, because they know that it pierces certain layers of blocks in your consciousness. The voice has the ability to pierce conscious blocks to reach the core of your being. And then when I thought about that, because in a lot of uh, African, when you deal with the griots, but not even not only the griots, but then also the medicine men, the shaman. They didn't write it down; they spoke it because it will trigger certain languages, certain phrases will trigger the information within you. And that's when, with that science came to me, chapter 9, the river runs deep. Because after a while, you start realizing how much information is in your DNA. They may talk about epigenetic traumas, but I want people to start talking also more about the Shikashi records. That's what I was like. I knew nothing about the Shikashi records until I started doing it. All of a sudden, the information started coming down, and I'm starting to click here, text this, do this, and all of a sudden, the rivers opened up, and I realized, whoa, we were made this way. Chapter 10, beautiful journey. It's what God has done for the African genotype is nothing less than a miracle. It's beautiful, wonderful, and you got to experience it. So take your time. And then you have chapter 11, the hidden treasure. In this one, we shook you up a little bit. We dealt with the issue of having so a life of plenty, a life of wisdom, about a life of love, a life of a communal life of powerful community, technology, wisdom, you name it, we had it, and we were supplying things across the globe. And we were coming in contact with a lesser genotype, ones that did not vibrate within the frequency of the creator the way we do because of their lack of melanin. And so they understood that we are an ancient people. But it wasn't necessarily them wanting to control us completely. They wanted the land. And the only way you can get rid of that conscious being that was what was birthed, manifested in that land before the migration of man, you have to destroy their consciousness. And so the hidden treasure was what they hid from you in plain sight. Yeah. What they hid from you in plain sight. Because all you have to do is go through certain processes to tap into it. The power of the divine self, this journey. Now, again, non-melanated genotypes are talking about this as though it belongs to them. And they're standing on this. But it's not theirs. It's ours. And they said, we're going to hide the treasure that is yours. What did they hide? What they hid was the awareness of your consciousness. The awareness of your relationship and your connection to the universe. And so I sat down and said, dipping, dabbing into that. It hit me. You need to share the 10 levels of consciousness. So we can take a look at those who believe they're on this journey, or those who think they made the journey, those who think that they don't have anything else to do on their journey. We're gonna see this. A lot of people say, bro, it was a question because I'm getting more and more seasoned, but I'm staying more and more useful. Why? Because I don't ever believe that the level of thinking on my conscious level, my level of connection is done. And I'm praying I go to I tell you 120. I'm speaking life, 120. So dealing with the issue, and so when this came about, it was the 7 last days. It was Good Friday. And so being asked to speak on Good Friday and having the 6th word, I wound up coming across the 10 layers of levels of consciousness, and I shared it then. And I said, I got to find a way to share this. And I said, It's just the universe, my ancestors, and it's just giving me the information to share with you at the right time. And so, dealing with the levels of consciousness, the 10 levels of consciousness, what we're looking at is the material versus the spiritual. Like what? Your relationship to the material life versus your relationship with the material. Material life versus spiritual, excuse me. Material versus spiritual. Which one do you lean on more? Which one do you lean on more? And what is your percentage? They say the first level of consciousness is when you have 100% of your reality is based, oops, sorry for the text, on your environment. You become a direct reflection of your oppression, your poverty, and your pain. When you're in your level 1 consciousness, when every time you turn around, something can trigger your trauma, level 1. Something triggers you become a product of your past, level 1. Your hurt, your poverty, or your lack of, where poverty is a mind state. It's not a physical condition, it's a mind state. Level 1. When you're 100% of your reality is based off of your environment. And how many can sit down and say that that's where they are? When we used to brag about being a product of our environment, I know a couple of people who still do that. And I'm like, dude, that's just not it. As well as, and you see the typo still on the based on, so please forgive me. I think I changed it. I didn't know it went this far back. The second level of consciousness is when you 90% of your reality is based off your environment. What you seeing, what you can touch, and what's happening to you, and what people are saying to you. And 10% is off of your spiritual awareness. And at that moment, there's a rumbling inside you, the uneasiness that I might be more than what I'm being told I am. Reality gets kind of fuzzy because now what you thought was real, the things that you touch, not real. You begin to see things a little bit more deeper. You become a realist. And you know how people say, I keep it real. Like that's something good. Nah, you just got 10% more access of your spiritual awareness. Your mind becomes a little bit more open and you become slowly begin to respond as an original being. Now, what is said about level 1 and 2 is you're not human. You're not even close to being considered to be human when you're in level 1 and level 2. And you're not even, you only become a glimpse of what God intended you to be by the time you hit that level 3, the third level of consciousness, where your 80% of your reality is based on your environment and 20% is based off of your spiritual awareness. What? Your energy level changes. Right. You're going from a slave mindset to a malakio mindset. That's a different. Slave mind, the malakio in our community means a seeker. You're seeking something. You're moving. You're active now. Seeking something that you can't touch, that you can't prove. You begin to develop mind and heart connection. You're no longer cold to your reality or the reality of everybody else, or your reality, because you become connected to your emotions and you begin to come connected to the emotions of others. You stop acting according to the world and begin to respond as yourself. Anger is, you can get blind rage here. You can get mad. You can get upset. You can laugh. You slowly you start touching into the fabric of you. They said you're not human until you reach level 3. You're not even considered in the mental state that you're human until you reach level 3. And level 4, of course, And you see the change where your 70% of your reality is based off your environment, only 30% is based off of your spiritual witness. There's nothing wrong with this. You understand that you influence the life around you, things begin to change. Your oppression is not doesn't have as much of a hold as it is, but it's 30%. You realize your thoughts govern your life, so you begin to try to put yourself around, feeding yourself different energies of positivity, and your diet reflects your self-awareness. I can't believe if you have individuals who well, let me talk about me. My diet, as I continue it, and Bakiba, he can testify to this, that blood pressure that I be going through, because of all that I'm called to do, I won't sleep. I will sit up hours and hours and hours trying to get this done. This was done after work today. So I was juggling. Ooh, let me not say that loud so my job don't hear that I be trying to do two things at once. Last night was all ritual to put myself back in my energy level back into the hemisphere of going full throttle. Why? Because I got things to do. And so when my blood pressure boils, I sat down and said, yeah, well, before I put the toxins of medication in my system, let me give God time. Let me give the earth and what God gives created for the body to receive. Look at the motherland connection. Let me deal with that. Look at the secrets of the mystic temple. I had to change my diet so that the system that I have gets regulated naturally. God. Why? Because I'm not looking at my physical existence as having the authority over my body. If it is God's will and I have time to heal myself, let me heal. And since October, November, we'll say, November, December, all down to normal. Now, it does go up sometime and because of my lack of sleep, but the diet has changed it. And we as a church community, we sit down and say, it's a slave diet. You can't say you free and still eat like a slave. Eat the lowest form of food that does nothing for your body. It helps you not elevate your vibration at all. And so you begin to eat different. You think different. Your thoughts are completely different on level 4. And so when you get to the next level, level 5, your 60% of your reality is based on your environment and 40% is based on your spiritual awareness. It's a whole different level of moving now. You begin to live life instead of forcing your way through it. Instead of pushing and fighting and I'm gonna flow with this thing. Why? Because there's something in here I need to learn and go. And I tell you, when I was going through my level 5, yes, I would force the things that I needed to done for World of Akiba Land and my spiritual journey. And now, yeah, I'm beyond forcing it. You're gonna let God do what God do, let the ancestors do what the ancestors do, and I'm gonna find myself on time. So there's no forcing it. You are selective with your friends and only connecting with those that positively affect your spirituality. I have friends who call themselves, kingdom people. And they got some of the most negative friends. I don't get it. That means you can't be on level 5. You're lesser than level 5. Because on level 5, you realize 40% of your reality is based off your spiritual awareness. And you know that the only way that you can continue to elevate to a particular height of awareness is if you always have positive people around you. You're like, what? Yeah. And real talk, that doesn't mean you get rid of people. I'm not one to get rid of people. I'm one to vibrate at a particular frequency where that person removes themselves. And then in that space, you begin to seek your life's purpose. You begin to seek the why of who you are. Understanding who you are, and why you are. You begin to seek your purpose. That's level 5. And a lot of us get stuck in this one because what you've been doing, you think has been your purpose, but it hasn't been. We talk about in One Love Bookkeeping because we had this conversation. Kalonji, One Love, we had this conversation where we say individuals function from a space of assignment, not a space of a calling. And when you look at certain people's actions, you can tell individuals who are functioning from an assignment, meaning that you're voluntold. You're in a collective community and they say, hey, do this. And you do it. And you keep doing it. And you keep doing it, thinking that you're living in your purpose. But then when the hands of authority are off you and you go back into your physical life, yet you do not have a drive to manifest your purpose. That means you have always functioned from a being told what to do versus seeking your true life's purpose. And I remember hearing that. One Love, Reverend Mwenda said, a man and a woman had an experience of God when you can see what they're doing. And they're doing exactly what God has called them to do, and they don't need anybody to police them. They don't need no encouragement. They don't need anything. They just get the job done. Wait, let me stop. It just hit me. And I got to thank Cardinal Swire for this one. That last one's begin because I was ready to leave my community. I was ready to be done because I knew I wasn't being used to the fullest extent of what I knew my calling was. Not what I wanted to do, because we got a lot of people who want to do a whole lot, but it's not their call. It's not their anointing. And Cardinal Swire, literally, One Love, brother, said, name the power of any man that gives you the permission to do what God has called you to do. Ain't no man alive can stop a man who hears what God has called him to do. No man alive. So when you get to your level 5 and you hear and you feel in the essence of your being what your purpose is, you fight for it. Because hell for me is transitioning over, and this was supposed to go at the end, but I'm in it right now. Transitioning over, not even being aware of what your divine purpose was. As a group, there is nothing more sacred than the liberation of Black people, but then everybody has a particular purpose or project or responsibility within that liberation struggle. You're not supposed to develop consciousness just to be conscious. Who? No. You begin to seek your purpose. Level 5. Then level 6. Woo! 50% of your reality is based on your environment, and 50% is based off of your spiritual awareness. Woo! You stepping in right there. You 50-50 in. Very few people can understand this level. And we as people in my community, PAOCC, I'm gonna say it, Pan African Orthodox Christian Church, Shrines of the Black Madonna, we will tell you, we not understood by the average person, because a lot of us are 50% in. Where you live in the world, but you're not confined to the world. And then what gets scary, what is happening now in this transition, is some of us are slipping back into lower consciousnesses where we are in the world and of it. But where did you hear that before? You live in the world, but you're not confined of it. That's very few people can get to this level or understand it. You understand that you have access to a collective consciousness, and you pull from it. So what are you pulling? You're pulling, one is a deep sense of gratitude, and you're pulling information, you're pulling instruction, you're pulling guidance, Man, data pours out of you like water. You access those records. Why? Because it's a collective consciousness. You begin to become a teacher of life, opposed to just being a student trying to learn your way through. When you reach 50-50. And if you're in your purpose, you begin to teach what your purpose was to those who may have the same purpose. So whatever your great discipline is, you could be an auto mechanic living 50-50, and you're teaching another child who has the ability to take in the knowledge and wisdom of being mechanically inclined. So you begin to teach it. Access the information in you. Let me see. And this is why we at World of Akiba Land, please make sure you go see World of Akiba. You join us on Sunday. Where you put kids in different life experiences until you can trigger their gifts, talents, and what they're here for. And you take them to a space where they get to hear God for themselves. Whether you tell them what they're going to do, they do it. Why? Because they hear it from within. And they become, as you teach, they teach, they teach, they teach. And if you're at a point where you're not giving back, yeah, it's because your consciousness level has slipped. I don't care how much you know, how much you heard of, how much you think you believe. You didn't internalize it though. Mm. And so this sixth level of consciousness, when we're dealing with the power of the divine self. Let me get this right. Because I went in. So those who are coming in late and maybe be tapping in, so you get a clear understanding of where we at and what the conversation tonight is about. Right there. Talking about the 10 levels of consciousness. And we're on level 6. Now, what I want you to be aware of is sometimes when your chakras are open, look at the secrets of the mystic temple. When your chakras are open, you can jump in and out of certain levels of consciousness. You may not fully, and I know this is for me in my journey. When I found myself at a particular level and you snap out of it, and you're trying to get back in there. There are things and practices that you have to go to get in and stay in. And so the creator and the ancestors will give you a bird's eye view of what you could be if you could tap in and stay in. Certain things come and you start flowing and you like, woo. So you will see yourself in a lot of different levels, but which one are you mostly? So remember, this levels, we talk about the power of the divine self. They knew what they had to alter in you. Level 7. In this space, you have removed yourself further away from the physical realm. 40% of your reality is based on your environment, and 60% is based off of your spiritual awareness. That's a different type of being right here. Where most of your concepts of reality are based off of the spiritual realm. I remember having arguments with my family when they talk, when as a man, you gotta provide. And I got clear early. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's not a man that provides for you. A man doesn't provide for his family. Okay, my brother Benjamin Carter is asking, how do you uh open your chakras? And you spell chakras wrong, but I got you. You know what? Look at on YouTube. There's one called "The Secrets to the Mystic Temple," and there are some conversations up there about how to open your chakras. Again, this is chapter 12, so we've been flowing with this. We've been flowing with this. And so if you and then there are a couple of other things online on the African Speaks where we dealt with chakras and how to open them and how to trigger them. And there's some things that we did with a Kibaland Inspirational Sunday in terms of opening your chakra. Now, and I can say this for now, Benjamin is my brother, really. And the chakra that is open more for him than anything else is his throat chakra. That thing. I remember when he was young, and I would take him to MCA studios and dealing with my producer, K Son, One Love. I haven't seen you or heard from you in a minute. And he had everybody in this camp was writing to be on this compilation album. So I brought my brother there to do a photo shoot. During that photo shoot, they were writing, and he said, "Can I write a verse?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And in 15 minutes, he came up with a killer. 15 minutes, a killer. And we worked on his breathing technique of where he's going to breathe the delivery to kill it. So if you look at what I would suggest to you, my brother, is to focus on your heart chakra. We've been dealing with that over the years because that's going to trigger up your higher levels of chakras to get to that crown. And in that space, when you're dealing with your chakras, when you look at, please, the mystic temples, the mystic secrets of the mystic temple, when that goes through, when it channels up, and you get to that pineal gland, it's in there. Look at the secrets of the mystic temple. You begin it, then you begin to start dealing with yourself as a receiver of deeper consciousness. And you can get to that point where you know back here on level 5 where it's a collective consciousness. And level, and there are breathing techniques also that you can take, you can do. And I will definitely talk to you on the side to have you work on some things. One love. And so here on level 7, the most of your concept is based off the spiritual realm. Nothing that you see is really affects you anymore as much as it used to, because you know that it all is process of thinking and consciousness. You begin to grow into a manifestation spirit. You can speak to things as though they aren't, when they aren't as though they are. People talking about faith. Yeah, we talk about manifestation. And a lot of people believe that they can manifest things and they're not really, yeah, it's not really manifestation. Why? Because your conscious level is not at a level 7. So when people are trying to manifest things in their life and it's not working and they're doing it, it's because you're still doing it from a low level of consciousness. You can't leap to the top. Now you can work your way as a slave to financial wealth. That doesn't mean that you did it, you manifested it. Anything that you put your elbow grease to, you're going to achieve. But when you halfway in and halfway out and you understand that it's all conscious level, you can do it with less effort. Less effort. You become one with your surroundings, feeling one with nature. You start, and real talk, in our classes, African spirituality classes, when you start learning how to speak to your ancestors and you start looking at nature, you start looking at the insects and how they move around you. My story. Walking outside my house, there's a spider about this big, about that big. You can see the hole right there. And he has a spider web at my door. And I opened the door. I said, "Man, I don't want to kill you. You need to move back. Get into the bushes. Because if I come back out here, I'm killing you." I didn't want to deal with it. Nothing, sitting there like that big, like he trying to catch me. I waited a little while, opened my door. Now he's back. And he's on the banister. I looked at him and said, "Hey, I sit in the bushes. I come out a third time, I'm going to kill you." Go in the house, close the door. I open the door. The spider's in the bushes. You begin to speak to nature and it responds to you. You have a sense of oneness with the universe. You feel the wind, you feel the leaves, you love the bees, the flies, you name it, the worms, the water, everything. You become one with the universe. You see yourself connected to the Creator in all things, dealing with the 10 levels of consciousness. And in that space, yes, you become a whole different being. You begin to walk different, talk different. It's a manifestation, and then you begin to teach that which you are. I think that's something. And the 8th level of consciousness is when 30% of your reality is based on the environment, and 70% is based on is off of your spiritual awareness. Wow. Now you are more divine, godly than you are physical. Your spiritual self permeates your existence. It doesn't matter where you go, you are able to tap into the multiple levels of the energy field. And it does, so you can manifest things on all levels. You want to manifest finances? Yes. You want to manifest ideas? Yes. You want to you access the Shikashi records. You want to create the live stream where you talk about something that ain't even taught in your community. Drop. You become less about mind, body, and spirit and more about your vibrations and your frequency. In that space, you begin to change the frequency of the people that stand next to you. Now, sometimes we've all had a scenario where we are such a high frequency, we walk in the room and everybody looks because of your vibration. Again, the ancestors and the creator will allow you to tap into the multiple levels and pull you right back down into your slave state to get you to fight for that. What would it be like to stand next to somebody having a bad day, and just because you're standing next to them, your vibration vibrates off of them, and you can change the way they think. And then, most mystic part, you're able to communicate through dreams. Mm, ain't that something? Here's a story I'll share. Had someone who was having a miscarriage, and she didn't want to tell anybody that she was hemorrhaging. The child goes to the grandmother. The father had already named the child. The child in the dream goes to the grandmother because the mother did not want to tell the father or anyone else that she was hemorrhaging. The child goes to the grandmother and speaks to the grandmother and says, I am your grandson. My name is Khalil. My mommy needs you. Please call her. Then her mother called, dream speaking, and said, baby, who's Khalil and what's going on? You're able to communicate through dreams. Ain't that something? You're able to speak into the atmosphere, to the Most High, to the Divine Mother, to Yahweh, however you want to call it, the Creator, God, and say, deliver me information here. And there is a ritual that we have that you can do, that if you need to know something and you want it to come to you in your dream, you speak out to your ancestors. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Not yet. We did have a African spirituality class, and I might restart it again. And you speak into, you go to sleep, you speak into to the thing next to your bed, you have the dream, and you get up next morning, you pour it out, but they're going to communicate to you. You can have direct conversations. That's power. Why? Because in that space of dream state, you can become a complete vibration of frequency. A complete vibration of frequency. Receiving information back and forth. Now on this ninth one, You're reaching levels that you can. Ninth level of consciousness, where your 20% of your reality is based on your environment and 80% is based off of your spiritual awareness. You are fused with the universe. Your thoughts are so powerful, it can mold reality around you. You change water to wine. You can walk on top of water. You can heal the sick. Your very presence changes the environment and raises the vibrations around you. Individuals can just touch the hem of your garment. What? This is sacred space, but this is not foreign space. And that's what you have to learn about the power of the divine self. This is not foreign space. They attest those individuals who have gotten this high, of course. The revolutionary black Messiah Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. Some say it'll come to me. My brain just froze. Gandhi. There we go. Sorry. Some say Gandhi was here. Where 20% of your reality is based off your environment, 80% is based off of your spiritual will. Something. Now, that next level, the last level, level 10. Level 10 consciousness is 10% of your reality is based off your environment. 90% is based off of your spiritual awareness. This is where we all strive to. Where you have completed your soul purpose, not your ego's purpose, not the world's purpose, but your soul's purpose, your grand design that God placed within you, the conversation you had with the Creator before your consciousness became physical. And you're given a choice to stay on this earth as a spiritual guide or ascend to a higher level where you become a level 1 conscious cosmic being. What? I've known quite a few individuals who have transitioned over to become level 1 cosmic being because there was nothing that maybe it's not for me to say, but I saw that this is what their calling was, this is what they live for, this is what they fought for. All of us don't get to that. And when in my community, as we watch the generations turn over, I sat down and said, well, I've seen individuals before me transition in peace because they did everything that they possibly could according to what they knew. Yeah. To give them honor, I'm doing the same. That's why people say, how can you do what you do? Because I'm called. And I adhere to the instructions of my calling. How can you do what you do? When you need to reach, go through the levels. We're going to be dealing with the power of the divine self and the processes now. We'll be dealing with the processes to get it back. Because what happened here, why you are still on, let's get it. Here we go. Why a lot of us are still on number 1 and number 2. Very few people getting past number 4 and 5. It is because the Eurocentric world wanted control of all of the resources in this land. And if you look at it, the hidden treasure will talk about it. How they were trading with the globe. And they said, why do we always have to go to them to get what we need? If we take it over, we can have it for ourselves as much as we want. But in order to do that, they had to destroy the levels of consciousness that you had access to. not helping you believe or remember who you are, whose you are, and why you here. So again, if you could think about if you can sit down and go back in your mindset and realize that we were a people first that had the awareness of the levels of consciousness, and it was our job to reach that consciousness, to display the most powerful being that each one could be. It didn't matter how primitive you thought we were, because we weren't when you go in to look at these societies. Our awareness, we were less connected to the physical and more connected to the spiritual. And this is why a lot of, when you look at the hidden treasure, when Rome and Greece started coming in, they couldn't understand everything. Why? Because they're not built to handle the data. They're not built to handle the frequency. They're not built for the spiritual awareness. Look up the melanin, the God particle. They're not built for it. So when you have that, think about it, and you have a land that has all the resources. You have individuals in the community sharing guidance and wisdom to reach higher levels of consciousness to the greater community. You could understand the abundance of people that the people had. So when they came in contact with Kemet, when they came in contact with Kush, you look at the stories of Massa Musa, King Solomon. Why were they able to live in abundance? Because of the land in which they lived in, and the fact that everybody was trying to reach a certain level of awareness. Imagine what type of being existed and why they had to destroy it. But before, and so we became a communal people, a communal group, sharing in wisdom, love, and understanding. Nobody had, there was no such thing as homelessness, poverty. Yeah, those are negative spirits that just didn't happen in a land that was vibrantly created to sustain a wonderful, beautiful people. And this is how you go from just beings to gods and goddesses. I'm not going to call you a king and queen just because your ancestors were king and queens. I want to call you a king and queen because your level of consciousness has elevated to the point where we're dealing with the higher levels, where you're reaching that cosmic being that you were called to be. And so if modern society, if us today can take a look back, because we all calling ourselves conscious and we're using consciousness in the wrong way. We got women claiming they're sexual beings and you can go sleep around with anybody. I have a friend, girl, how many dudes you got? She hit me up and she was like, brother, they up in here comparing that they poly and they, that's not consciousness. It says the high level of consciousness, you become separate from your earthly attachments. So that craving you have to be with multiple people dissipates for spiritual understanding and connection. You don't want to. It's crazy. Sleep with multiple people. You might have more than one wife. Why? For the sake of community, for the sake of protection. You don't have multiple sexual partners because you're a spiritual and sexual being. No. But what happens when we use this consciousness to elevate to a state where we begin to reclaim us, who we are? The Sankofa journey. Yeah, that's next week. The Sankofa journey, where we start tapping into who we are, whose we are, and why we are. When we start tapping into that, if we can take today's woke generation and lead them to a state of history, then we can deal with the issue of Afrofuturism. Where do you see yourself or see your people Not you as an individual, but your people, because this was not a journey of an individual. This was a journey of an entire group of people. And certain individuals within that group of people had responsibilities. And there were kings and queens amongst those group of people who had deeper sense of consciousness that created an experience of family. Leadership. Everybody don't need to lead, even though everybody's fighting for it. You begin to see yourself reclaiming who you are. Not once were, but who you are. And being able to see yourself in a futuristic stance of what you look like as you continue to move through space and time as a people. You get to see yourself in the future, because if you look at these movies, they don't expect us to be around. I expect us to be infinitely powerful, highly conscious, in the world, not of the world, manifesting that Wakanda moment where we have a world that gives us everything and shares everything, because we are divine beings preparing to be cosmic entities that our ancestors that are to come can call upon. Ain't that something? The power of the divine self, chapter 12. What level of consciousness do you sit in will determine how much you are actually fighting. And some of us get older and older, but that fight don't change. So let it continue. Let it continue to build. Let it continue to grow. Let it continue to develop. Never give in to a lesser state of consciousness. Because if you can move toward and always moving and going up in your conscious level, you're going to access your greatest self, your best self, as we say it. You're going to become, as we say it, that which you already are, Kuwa, the art and science of Kuwa. You're going to have an experience where you have to flourish. The understanding of the theology of the best self. The liberation of Black people is not about power. It's not about political positioning. It's about reclaiming your divine consciousness and reclaiming the world that was given to us, that we were given to, and we're going to give it back to God. And see what humanity can really produce when humanity functions as one body. But it's going to take us to do it. That is this Pan-African. It just hit me. Garvey used to say, only if I knew how to make man. Man is in mankind. Man is in understanding that you got to get to the deeper levels of your consciousness so that you can give God what God deserves out of you. That is the journey of the divine self. Next week, we start on that Sankofa journey aspect of the power of the divine self. And that just came to see how I tell you how this works. I'm teaching the class and I don't have these pre-written. I don't have this stuff pre-written out or studied. The universe just said move into the Sankofa journey of the divine self. Wow. Go back and get it. Now, where you going back to? Sankofa will, I'm gonna save it because they just delivering it. They just delivering it. I want y'all to experience the African within. Now you understand what the Rise of the African is about. It's a conscious level so that we can create better realities physically for everybody, not just ourselves. Because we were told the world will be blessed by what we produce. So let's get to the business of dealing with our levels of consciousness. With that being said, hopefully y'all had a good experience. Any questions? Hit me up. One love.
Here it is, bam, and you say, God damn.